Hello, everyone, and welcome again. We're delighted today to be discussing the topic of AI, which I know is, unless you've been living under a rock, is one of the hottest topics out there right now. And I'm absolutely thrilled that once again, my good friend Jora Gill has decided to join us. So, Jora is now the CEO of a company called Connecting You Now. So, those of you know Jora, he's been around the industry for a number of years and high profile roles. Seek him out on LinkedIn, and you'll see what he's up to now. Something very exciting. So, Jora, welcome again. Thanks for giving us some time.
Thanks, Phil. Pleasure to be here.
I really appreciate it. And always great to talk to you and always great to have your insights. And I know you're obviously a very popular character out there when we do these as well. So I guess we're going to jump straight in. AI is really hot right now and has been for some time. People are scared of it. They're excited about it. Um, a quick definition, I suppose, before we start, because there's many different views out there. In your opinion, what exactly is AI? How would you describe it? You're at a family barbecue, or you're out with some friends. What is AI?
Yeah, sure, Phil. I mean, there's lots of definitions out there, but essentially, the way I look at AI, first of all, I look at AI. We've always had AI since the sort of 50s and 60s. It's not suddenly that's come around. That sort of artificial intelligence that can enhance a human experience has been there for quite a while. But the sort of real change or the game changer has been one is the volume of data we've got now since digital came along. The volumes of data have gone exponentially. Before it was a physical. So organizations have got more data and more insights than they've ever had. And secondly, is the compute power. The cost of computing, cloud computing, has reduced year on year, and the power of computing has doubled in size every 2 years. So with this sort of connection of big data, low cost of computing, allows organizations to build models, term machine learning models, and those models can be trained on the data. It can be supervised training, where you're deciding what data set you want to train, and it can be unsupervised training, where you're sort of surprised by the results. You just let the machine learning loose on your data, and you say, "Teach me, what insights you can pick up from my data." And there's different forms of AI that people talk about. Computer vision, it's used in smart cities, audio and text. So that's a sort of very high level barbecue layman's explanation.
No, that's brilliant, and it's great for me and my level certainly. So it's why is it useful, or why is it becoming useful, or the more we're seeing the more potential for it. So I guess AI and it being useful for us as people. How do you see that?
I think there's more and more opportunities are being created sort of every day, and it's useful if used properly, because it can take large volumes of data and help, say, healthcare professionals. If you were to go to your local GP, usually they've got small data on you. It's only the data they've got. But if you combine the data they've got on your medical history with what they can already see, and they personalize that conversation around you, it gives them insights and it creates a different experience. Other things around sort of medicine are obviously sort of complex diseases is hard to predict, and this can enhance researchers' insights by helping sort of saying what is the data telling us of the cause and effect of diseases. So that sort of predictability, cyber security, the volume of data we've got now in cyber, it's really hard to protect yourselves. So it can enhance detections and responses. It can sort of see a trigger of something doesn't look right here. And it's very difficult for the human to spot that volume of data. But all of a sudden it looks at patterns, which a lot of AI does, because something's outside the pattern. And I'm just highlighting to you, and maybe you want to take a look at that. So the use cases are endless. It's just how you start with the use cases, that may be more useful to sort of discuss with the audience later on.
And in terms of, I know you get approached by a number of companies, and you're advising a number of firms right now, and your platform Connecting You Now is going to help organizations, certainly in their search, etc. But where do you start? I'm a company, I'm a CEO, and I go, I want AI on my business, and everyone else is doing it. We've got to do it too. Where do you start? Do I need AI?
Um, it depends. A lot of CEOs are sort of saying, I need AI in my platform. And a lot of startups are building AI platforms, and a lot of startups don't quite have AI, but are still marketing AI. But that's fine. Where do you start? So it is the why AI. So the question you asked, Bill, was a good one. Why? So you start with why, and as any good product that's built, you start with the end. Like, this will be useful for who, and why will it be useful, and what will we do with it? So I think a lot of what I see, I mean, we're not sort of out there helping consulting organizations, but we are reached out going like, how should we look at these things? And we're finding that people are starting with the technology first, but it's like digital. You start with the problem first, and you start with a gap in the market. Now, how do you know that you've got this gap in the market? I think once you've got your sort of thoughts sort of come together, you need to test it. So our recommendation is always to build a prototype. You might be using AI for improving in logistics. You may be using AI for improving in customer experience. But if you could just start with a simple prototype, and then you take the prototype out, you take it out within your organization, or you take it out to your customers, or you take it out, with your partners, and you sort of see, is this a product market fit? Like, we're developing something using AI. Is there a market for what we're actually doing? And you ask questions, and you get feedback, and you improve your prototype, and you take it out. But the killer question that I always ask, at the end is, if you're in an enterprise, you ask the question, if I was to build this, would you give me budget this quarter? Because then you know if there's a real need. And if there isn't a need, you'll know there's no need. So then you go back and start again with why. Or you ask people, if you're a startup, going, hey, look, if I was to build this, would you pay for it? And if people go, actually, no, I wouldn't pay for it. So then you've got a good idea, but there's no product market fit. Once you've done that, then you take it out in a small audience with a pilot, a beta version, collect data and improve it, and then you can scale.
Nice. No, I like that. If the would you give me budget this quarter? Because that presents it right into the here and now, as opposed to, it's easy to kick things down the road and go, yeah, it sounds a good idea. Go away and work on it and come back to me. It's like you end up spending 6 or 12 months doing something. You go back and they say, well, actually, we're not ready for that. No, I like that. They're here and now. Bring it to the now. When you go and you ask to get budget, that's really cool. And one of the things we've talked about, and I know you're passionate about, and we're going to do a round table on this later in the year. And thanks for that. I really appreciate you giving more time. AI for good. For those people out there who've never heard that term, for those people who are queerness as to what does it mean, what's your sort of definition for AI for good?
So we have a principle in Connecting You Now. If it doesn't feel right, you shouldn't do it. It's one of our sort of basic principles. We can't, everybody has different ethics and sort of different lines on ethics, and, even within our own organization. But what we say to, our team is like, if you feel uncomfortable using AI in this instance, we probably shouldn't be using AI in that sort of instance. So that is, are you using it for, positive impact on society? Are you using it for a positive impact on communities who have been marginalized because of digital? So the way we build our sort of AI is, we start with those communities who have been marginalized. And there's something around, you'll hear a lot about bias of AI. And there's two types of biases that come in AI. Imagine your core data set. If you're a large organization, your core data set is going to be the most people who sort of use your product and platform, and you probably build your sort of AI algorithms on that core data set. But say ethnic minorities aren't in your core data set. So say you built an interview, AI interview product app, and this actually happened to Amazon. So it's not sort of Amazon, pretty good when it comes to sort of data and products. So what they did was they used their core data set, but what they found was it was discriminating female candidates. So all of the recommendations were coming sort of for male candidates. In 2018, Amazon killed that project. And I think they restarted it again on fair data. So AI for good involves your data that includes the outer layers, people with a disability, who are often marginalised when it comes to digital. In fact, 56% of people with sensory loss, people with sight or hearing loss, are active participants in the UK digital economy. Sounds pretty good, maybe. 84% of the general population are actually active participants. So we're already discriminating. And what we're going to do with AI is add to that discrimination. So our definition is to involve your data set at a wider range, involve communities, not just in testing your AI, but actually building your AI. When I said that, start with, involving humans in the loop and communities, going, if we built this, would it be useful to you? And use the general population. You're not a digital, you're somebody in their 80s who's afraid of a keyboard. If I built this, where you could talk to and find solutions in any language, would it be useful to you? And would you pay for it? And so that you created something with a community that's marginalized. And by doing that, and Apple are a great example of this, by doing that, the products you'll build are going to just be amazing for everybody else, like Apple products are.
That's fantastic. The AI for good, I know, is central to connecting you now, and that's something I want to cover off. And we're going to move on to when we're in episode 2 at the end. We'll want to cover off a little bit about you. If people want to look up connecting you now, their website obviously can seek you out on LinkedIn, Jora. But your website, could you just remind us everyone what your website address is?
Yes, it's just connectingyounow.ai.
Yeah, brilliant. So those people want to get curious about what you're doing in that AI for good section. I know you guys are really busy in that, so it'll be brilliant. You're in the heart of this. You're actually doing it. So you're not one of these people who are just merely voyeurs and commentating from the outside. You're in the thick of it. What are the challenges when working on AI projects? And I mean, you can speak from experience here, and also, what you foresee in the future are going to be the challenges for working on AI projects.
Yeah, no, thanks, Phil. I mean, I will present the challenges we faced. We've been working on Connecting You Now for over a year, and we have faced many, many challenges. So let me start with the first challenge we faced, which was the right skills. Now, people are going to assume you couldn't find a data scientist, you couldn't find the sort of AI folks. We actually could. What we couldn't do is find AI QAs. How do you test for, AI? We couldn't find AI designers. How do you design a product that's sort of for AI? And then the other challenge was, how do you get these teams working together? Your AI specialists, your data science specialists, your designers, your product people. And it took us a while to get a team that had the same mission, the same vision, the same sort of objectives and goals. So finding those skills, and it's not just we expect our QAs not just to test and say done. We expect the QA to be involved in the product thinking, going, I tested this, it passed all the tests, but it's still an ugly product. And you're back to the designers and going, why is it ugly? Why is it not easy and frictionless to use? Why is it not giving you an amazing customer experience? Because the danger is you can bang AI out there, and it's just sort of the user experience is terrible. All the questions the AI asking makes people feel awkward. It's asking quite personal and private sort of questions. So that's one. The second one, the challenge we faced was, is this going to be ethical, and can we be transparent? So a lot of organizations will, have lots of data. Other organizations will have much data. It's a way around it. You create synthetic data, which we can explain maybe at some other point. Otherwise, I'll be here for an hour. But how do you ensure that your data is not already biased? Because what you're going to do is train your models on your data. If your data is already biased, gender, minority, etc., then what you're doing is, the way you talk with your audience is going to be in a biased nature. The way your models are trained will be biased. So that's another challenge that we thought about. We didn't face because we started with that AI for good mantra. So, we knew that what we were going to be facing. What a true challenge we faced was, we train our AI models through something called supervised and unsupervised learning. Supervised is when you give a data set and it's training on there. Unsupervised is when you just throw it sort of at the data. And we, through connecting, at the data, we created amazing customer experiences, and we did this sort of recommendation engine. And then we got asked by one of our clients, well, how do I trust your AI? And we were, what do you mean? And he went, where's the transparency on your AI, and where's the explainability? And we went off on all sorts of, like, you can't explain AI, it's big data. I wasn't buying it. So then we had to create an audit trail of AI. And the way actually we did it is a tip for your audience. We actually used AI to test AI. So, we got ChatGPT to test our product. And then we got Bard to test the product. So, and then we said, write a transparency on this AI that you're testing. So, there's ways around it. Happy to share that at a sort of future event. But the underlying goal is you'll never find any of these challenges out until you start. So what I would say to your audience is just start. Start small, start with a pilot. But without starting, you can go to as many conferences as you like. You can read as much on the blogosphere as you like. But without starting, you won't learn. So even with these challenges, just start.
Just start. Well, that is Just Start is a brilliant place to close episode 1. Thank you so much for giving us some time. We're going to record episode 2 and release that. To crowd spoiler, we're going to record episode 2 now and release it a little bit later. But thank you again, Jora. Thank you very much. And for those who want to, they can seek you out on LinkedIn, and they can go to connectingyounow.ai for more information on what you guys are up to at the moment. Thank you so much, and we'll record episode 2.
So.